Want to hear something good?
Want to hear something good?
That's good.
I gotta tell you about this good thing.
Did you hear about that program? It's good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
What's good?
What's good?
Did you hear what's good?
What's good, Goodwill? What's good, Goodwill? What's good, Goodwill?
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Hope and Michelle. We are here on the What's Good Goodwill podcast, talking about all the wonderful things that the Goodwill Industries of the Inland Northwest is up to as of late. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us.
No, thank you, Hope, for joining us.
I guess it is that way. I technically am just now joining. This is my second time.
Second episode? What? I wish I had the air horn thing.
She's not ready.
I'm not ready
She wasn't ready.
Well, that's like the joke that I've been seeing is like, why do millennials always throw their hands up in the air and then it plays all the different songs when we were growing up, that all of the songs tell you to put your hands up in the air. I'm like, well, that's throw my hands up in the air.
And they stay there. Yeah.
Which have nothing to do with today's episode.
Absolutely nothing to do with today's episode. It is February. Happy February to our lovely listeners. We are obviously celebrating a month filled with love, with history, and with purpose. So today's episode, we'll be chatting about a few different things that relate to all of those lovely themes.
Ooh, I'm excited. What are they?
We're going to talk about Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
Yeah, and how you can gift with thoughtfulness this Valentine's Day instead
Nice.
of gifting with not thoughtfulness, whatever
Maybe
that.
overconsumption?
Yeah.
Consumptionism?
Instead of going to like a big box store, you know, chain commercial store that has an aisle full of giant teddy bears.
Those last
and-
minute panic items.
Yes, the little heart-shaped boxes of sweets and little whatever knick-knacky things that don't actually have meaning. We'll talk about how you can gift with thoughtfulness this Valentine's Day. We'll also talk about the opposite of Valentine's Day or anti-Valentine's Day, just in case you're not celebrating or you don't like to celebrate Valentine's Day. We'll talk about some other things that you can do to celebrate on February 14th. And then we'll talk about some sustainability and how thrifting fits into reducing waste and supports our community here where we are and also communities where you're at. We'll also be honoring the legacy of Sandy Williams, a true champion for equity and empowerment in the community here where we are in Spokane.
I'm very excited about this portion.
Very excited. We have lots to share today.
So let's kick things off with a topic that's perfect for Valentine's Day, gifting with a purpose. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? So as Hope teased, thrift shops such as Goodwill offer such unique and budget-friendly options for gifts. You know, we talk about, consumption and fast fashion and just, big box stores are just constantly producing and producing and producing. And maybe the quality is not so great, or maybe
No.
it's something that, you look at it and it would be cute for the moment, but is it something that you're really going to keep
Right.
post-Valentine's
Probably
Day?
not. You're going to keep it for a month and be like, oh, so cute. Thanks, love. And then you're going to hide it or never see it again. Or you're going to hang it on a shelf and it's going to collect dust.
Yeah.
And in a year, you're going to be like, let me get rid of that.
I might donate that to Goodwill.
Yeah.
So you could be sitting there and you're wondering, okay, so you're telling me that big box stores and all just the mass-produced things aren't good. So what can I find at Goodwill?
Good
What would
question.
make good gifts?
Yeah. So Goodwill has all kinds of stuff. We actually carry things like vintage jewelry. Every Goodwill has a special counter where we keep our jewelry. Go check it out.
Our jewelry case, I don't know, the other day, we were in the
looking
downtown
through.
Spokane store
Yep.
and the jewelry, beautiful
Yep.
pieces at amazing prices.
Absolutely. Sweet pearls, like chains of pearls, you know?
There was like pretty flashy jewelry sets, like there was
Yes.
gemstones,
Brooches.
And not only can you get that jewelry, you can also find in our aisles, you can also find gift bags and you can find gift boxes. We were talking about how to use like a little sustainability piece that not only can you find like bags and boxes, but also you can find fancy material and fabrics.
Cards.
Oh yeah,
We have a little swivel thing of cards.
we have some of the cutest cards.
Yeah, we do. Well, besides jewelry, you can find things like books, home decor, and of course, lots of clothes to be looked through that can also be personalized to fit whoever you're gifting.
If you're on a budget, your loved one loves flowers. Once again, you can go to Goodwill, find a beautiful vase that they could constantly use over and over again. And then you can go to places like Trader Joe's, support a local florist or like a flower shops and just...
Trader Joe's has the most economic friendly and beautiful array of flowers. So I agree with that.
Imagine, don't just get stuck in looking at flower vases. I've seen really cute, if your loved one loves Bridgerton, we have cute tea sets. And teacups, and you can mix and match and use the teacups and vases and things. Or maybe your loved one they love sci-fi. Maybe they love, rock and roll. Don't just stick into the traditional vase shape that you think of. Go up and down the aisles, see what you can find.
Yeah, there's so much.
They're like a beer fan. We've got beer signs and all these cool beer glasses.
Cast irons?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't love a good cast iron on Valentine's Day?
I know Hope's eyes lit up. She was like, cast iron.
I saw 3 different ones at the store in here a couple weekends ago, and I thought heavily about one of them, and then I was like, I don't actually need this right now, but I really want to get it. I'm just going to leave it here. But it was $8,
Did your hand kind of twitch? Did you have to
probably
do the thing where you're
Probably twitched. I just blacked it out because I was so sad to have to leave it.
She woke up on the other side of the building what? Where am I?
Yeah, where? Oh, I'm in Goodwill. This is heaven.
Talking about upcycling, things like cool mugs or,
Which is, again, one of the benefits of thrifting gifts. It becomes personal and unique. It also reduces waste and promotes sustainability. So thinking about all of the Valentine's paraphernalia that you see in the stores nowadays, all that amount of stuff wouldn't actually be necessary if there was less demand for it, right? Mm-hmm. So you can help slow that demand by shopping at places like Goodwill, finding unique items at one of our many stores, because nothing says I love you better than a thoughtful and unique gift instead of something else that everyone else is probably going to be getting.
Nice. Not in love with Valentine's Day? Or shall we say you're not in love this Valentine's Day? Well, here are a few things to celebrate on February 14th that are romantic in a non-relational way.
For instance, it's Library Lovers Day.
Who doesn't love a library?
I don't know. Go see your friends over at the Spokane Public Library here in Spokane, or go to your local public library, wherever you're at. Not only can you check out books, you can also take classes, rent spaces, attend story time with your kids if you have them, access computer labs if you need it, and get access to their Library of Things.
Do you know about the Library of Things?
I do not know about the Library of Things.
This is the coolest thing. So I think it was last year we went down to the downtown Spokane Public Library, and they have a cool display section where they had different items like shovels and books and park passes. And we were kind of like, oh, this is a cool display. And they're like, it's not a cool display. It's our Library of Things. So with the Library of Things, you can try new things without the financial commitment. So you can learn how to crochet, you can learn how to play the guitar, the ukulele, pick up pickleball, go bird watching, grow your garden, or take the Discover Pass on a hike, which I thought is so cool. They have different park passes that you can rent. What? So if you've ever wanted to go to a national park or to, any Washington parks, they have rentable park passes.
That's awesome.
So maybe you can't make the financial commitment to getting a park pass.
Yeah.
You can just rent it.
Because a park pass is $80 for a year.
And that's a lot of money.
It is.
If you're maybe I'm not sure if I would like a park pass, or you're just taking a picnic for Valentine's Day, you can rent the park pass.
That does sound like a pretty cold picnic, though.
Isn't it? Taking it up and going to any of the parks. I love a picnic. I don't
know if you heard me. I said it sounds like a pretty cold picnic.
Oh. I run naturally hot, so anytime people are like, "Brr, that's cold outside," I'm like, "Let's go."
Like
girl.
this morning, when I woke up and turned my alarm off, and my phone said, "Good morning, it's 15 degrees outside." I was like,
"You were like, I'm going to stay in bed." I'm like, "Let's go on a picnic in a park."
You're crazy. Or while you're at the library, you might spot someone cute and single who's doing the same thing as you. And then next Valentine's Day, might look a little different for you.
You might find someone that likes to take picnics.
You might
in February.
in February.
Excuse me, do you like picnics in February? Are we talking indoor picnics? Are we talking outdoor picnics?
They might happen to think that you could be an alien, which, speaking of,
Oh,
it's
speaking of
also
aliens.
Extraterrestrial Culture Day, a very unique celebration that encourages the humans of planet Earth to look beyond this specific world and consider the possibilities that life might be out there in the far beyond. It's a day dedicated to recognizing the existence of extraterrestrial cultures and the relationships that humans actually have with the cosmos. It's a day to ponder the mysteries of the universe and appreciate the vastness of the world beyond and the place that humans have within it.
I'm the one that did the research on this, and we can thank the state of New Mexico for Extraterrestrial Culture Day.
This is such a New Mexico thing.
Isn't it? They did it to celebrate and kind of embrace the Area 51 Roswell kind of mythology that their state has. So,
Have you ever driven past Area 51?
no, but I've seen video of it.
I've driven near it, been like, oh, that's where it is, like on the main highway somewhere outside of the Las Vegas area.
I was about
like
to say,
driving way far from
Did your spidey sense tingle? But I was about to say, did your extraterrestrial...
Where's that button?
Wait, I'll find it for you. Oh, nope, that was the thing that we wanted.
That was.
That was.
Well, we found it. Ooh, a little bit of sparkle at the end of that one.
That was a little extra magic. Love sci-fi movies about aliens? February 14th is the perfect day to binge watch movies like Alien, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Arrival, E.T., and more.
Ooh.
What's the next one?
The next one would be, well, I think on this list, other than the actual February 14th Valentine's Day celebration, Ferris Wheel Day. How fun! I love a good Ferris wheel. I'm sad that we don't have one in our town that operates like year round.
Yeah, I was about to say, I wish you would think somewhere
Yeah.
in the, eastern Washington, North Idaho region that we live would have a Ferris wheel.
Yeah. You would think maybe even over at Silverwood.
Yeah.
They'd keep one just for year round purposes, but maybe they don't because they're not even open in the wintertime, I don't think, right?
Might be a little too cold for some people to
it could be too cold for a Ferris wheel out here. But don't let that stop you from celebrating the delight that is a Ferris wheel, which was given to us by the genius engineer George Washington Gale Ferris.
Is that really their name?
That is. Wow. It's actually George Washington Gale Ferris Jr.
Wow.
But
they're not the first. They're a junior.
They're a junior.
That's
There was another George Washington Gale Ferris, and I'm sure there was some that came after him. Who knows? But he happened to be the engineer who created the Ferris wheel.
Well, you know what that gets.
Lastly, it's National Organ Donor Day.
Which might not be something that you want to give away at this very moment.
Right, not. Yeah, right. But, yeah. So it's best not to celebrate it by, giving anything away nilly-willy. But it does stand as a great reminder that if you aren't already an organ donor, you should stop by the DMV and register. Any one of us can save up to 8 lives and improve more than 75 people's lives by being an organ donor, should the opportunity ever arise.
Yeah, once again, I think that gets it.
Woo! There are thousands of people waiting on organ donor lists that need organs, so it's good to be prepared ahead of time, just in case anything were to ever happen.
You can keep changing lives.
You can keep changing lives, even after you're dead and gone, dead and gone.
If you don't think this isn't staying in the podcast, you'd be wrong. And if none of those were I don't think I'd celebrate any of those, there is one final thing to celebrate on February 14th. Hope, do you have any guesses?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Woo!
Whereas we say in the biz, Friday.
Yeah, what's not to live about that? Plus, if it happens to be that you're going to want Valentine's Day plans, it's a great date night. Aside from Valentine's Day, February as a whole, not just one day, but the entire month, is Black History Month, and we want to offer a special spotlight to Sandy Williams and her legacy, which lives on here in Spokane.
Sandy Williams was a powerful community leader, advocate, and change maker. She started the Black Lens, which is a nonprofit news organization based here in Spokane, Washington, that focuses on news, events, people, issues, and information of importance to our region's Black community. Not only did she launch the Black Lens, but she also opened the Carl Maxey Center, which is a Black community resource organization. She was a busy woman, but even with all of this going on, Sandy was an invaluable partner to Goodwill Industries of the Inland Northwest. She made time to help organizations drive meaningful change in our community. Throughout 2017 and 2020, Sandy dedicated a lot of her time to Goodwill. She assisted us by leading our community needs assessment across 7 communities, identifying what these communities needed most from an organization like Goodwill, and her research helped us shape the foundation of our current strategic plan. She also provided critical training to our Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging EDIB committee by sharing her knowledge of equity and justice to help us build a more inclusive organization. It's no doubt that Sandy embodied a balance of love and activism, working tirelessly to uplift and empower others in our community and influencing other communities as well. Her sudden passing in 2022 was a huge loss to our community, but we choose to remember her for all the incredible work she did and the impact that her work still has in our community. If you're not familiar with the Black Lens or the Carl Maxey Center, please check out our Good Bits section below, where we have links and a little bit of information
About both of these organizations.
Speaking of nonprofits, let's go back to one of our favorite topics.
Goodwill?
Goodwill.
Woo!
Ooh.
Yeah. So let's talk about the bigger picture of Goodwill, though, and how thrifting with Goodwill promotes sustainability and builds stronger communities. One of the benefits of shopping at Goodwill is that it reduces textile waste. Did you know that the average person throws away 81 pounds of clothing each year?
I can believe it, like looking at my closet right now.
Yep.
And the amount of things that I don't wear that I should honestly donate because it sits in my closet.
It just sits, exactly. I donated, I think, I'm going to guesstimate 40 to 50 pounds this past weekend.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, 2 trash bags full of clothes. And then a little storage, shelf, one of those fabric ones that you can kind of mesh and shove somewhere. I got rid of that because I didn't need it anymore. And I put some shoes in it, like 3 pairs of shoes. So I donated a lot this weekend.
85 cents out of every dollar made on those items that you donated goes back to help fund our programs.
Yep.
So it's one of those things that, once again, you're saving the planet. You're saving your closet.
Yeah.
You're saving somebody money. You get a discount by donating.
You might be saving someone's life.
Yeah.
Someone who happens to be working at one of our Goodwill stores who is there because they needed it. They didn't have anywhere else to go, and they joined maybe our employment program, or they simply got a job at one of our stores. You might be saving their life.
I think this is such the cool thing about working at Goodwill. And we list it as a benefit, and I feel like it really is a benefit because I've seen it a lot, is the ability to transfer and advance in Goodwill. I have met a lot of people at Goodwill that they started off as just like a cashier 1, which is like base level, entry level cashier. And now, they're the head of retail operations, or they're district managers. Talking about conserving resources, something that I've been seeing online, which I think is such the coolest thing, and it's got to be just this kind of like generational thing, is using materials such as quilts, blankets, different fabric, mixing and matching like flannel shirts and hoodies. So people with actual like sewing machine skills take these materials that they find in Goodwill and they turn them into really awesome like streetwear, where they mix and match materials on like sweatshirts.
Yeah.
And then they make, I've seen a lady that she makes she makes dresses and jackets out of quilts. So she takes these quilts that are sitting in our stores, and then she takes them and then she makes dresses out of them. So once again, sustainability and recycling and reusing, that it's the cool hip thing, which I think is crazy because I don't think I'd ever think about taking like a crocheted blanket and turning it into like a jacket or some pants or some shorts.
Yeah. I don't even know where you'd begin.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't.
It's just one of those things where like I'll just sit there and watch and I'll get hooked. And knowing that I could never in a million years, like it makes sense like if I knew how to sew with a sewing machine.
Right.
But you just see this generation that it's just all about sustainability and then making your own cool personal style.
So creative. People are so cool.
Yeah.
People are really cool.
We have evolved in a society of this. It's just so cool now to reuse things and to make it your own. Valentine's Day, if you got the skills, you got the threads. We've got the materials.
That's cool. You got the skills, we got the threads.
Come and make cool one-of-a-kind, pieces. Or maybe it's a new year. Maybe you've started to learn how to crochet. Before you go to a big box store, come check out our craft aisle. So we all have craft aisles where we've got the needles, we've got the thread, we've got the yarn and things that maybe you're not quite committed and you're not 100% certain if maybe crocheting or knitting is your thing. You can come get the supplies at a discounted price. You can be doing good in the community all at the same time. And maybe you get hooked.
Where's that button again?
With those skills. All I want to do is...
Yeah. Speaking of improving your community, that's exactly what happens when you shop at Goodwill. Our thrift stores fund things like housing, financial support programs, and employment programs, which happens to be what our success story is about today. Michelle, have you ever been without a job and didn't know where to look for one?
Actually, I have been.
It's a tough place to be.
It's kind of frightening, actually.
Yeah, it sucks. And the process to even getting a job can feel really difficult to many people. Sometimes you don't know what kind of job you want or what kind of job you have the skills for. And sometimes you just struggle to keep a job for very long and you go from one to another. And it's at times like these that it's helpful to have another person help you in the process to finding a job. That's what Fernando did when he came to Goodwill in 2023. He was having a really hard time keeping a job. So he came to Goodwill to find support from someone, and that person was Lanessa. She works for Goodwill's Workforce and Family Services program, and she welcomed Fernando into her care and started off with the basics. So together they wrote Fernando's resume, they created cover letters for jobs, and practiced interviewing skills. He used those skills to get a job at a local business, which he stayed at for a year. But after that time, he realized that it was not a great fit for him, and he wanted to start looking for a new job again. So he went back to Goodwill and spoke again with Lanessa to work on finding that next job, one that he would really enjoy. They worked together to open his case again with the IDVR, which is the Idaho Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. And together they began looking for jobs again in the Post Falls area. They even went to local businesses together to pick up applications and talk to the hiring managers. And that happens to be what worked. One of those days they went into a Little Caesars Pizza, which I love Little Caesars.
Pizza.
Woo! And they spoke with the hiring manager who was there, and that hiring manager ended up hiring Fernando on the spot.
Oh, I don't know why that keeps chiming at the same time. Okay.
I like the sparkly sound. Fernando has worked there now for 3 months, and he loves his job. Little Caesars has treated him like he is a part of the family, and Fernando has said that for the first time ever, he loves his coworkers and his supervisors. Fernando was quoted saying, "Goodwill is awesome, and I recommend you guys."
I feel like it's one of those things that you have a guiding hand of. You look at a job and maybe your brain says you're not qualified for it, but our employment specialists are so good at bringing up your skills and looking at those skills and being like, you know what? It's just a wording difference. Like, You have the skills, you have the ability. Let's apply for this job.
Absolutely. We are so grateful that we got to be a part of Fernando's journey to finding a job that he will be able to keep for a very long time. And stories like this, stories like his, show us how much a little bit of support can go even a very long way.
This February, let's celebrate love, honor history, and protect our planet. Wow, Hope's magic was like...
What's happening over there?
What is happening? It just wants us to protect... It just wants us to protect the planet. Now I feel held hostage by the
by the sparkles.
By the sparkles, and protect our planet by thrifting with a purpose.
We also will remember this month Sandy Williams and her legacy around creating meaningful change in our community, which is exactly what we at Goodwill are on a mission to do every single day. Create opportunities that change lives and strengthen communities.
So don't forget, not just February, but every day, visit your thrift store. Support
Visit
the
your
thrift.
local thrift stores. Donate items also to these thrift stores, which support the programs that help change lives in our community.
Learn more about Sandy Williams and Black History Month events in your community. Check out their Black Business Expo on February 22nd at the MLK Center. Learn more by visiting the carlmaxiecenter.org/Sandy Williams Black Business Expo. And if that is too much for you to remember, we have the link below once again in our Good Bits section. Should I remember that whole link? Oh my God, woman, that is a long link to remember on a podcast.
Oh, man. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to the What's Good Goodwill podcast. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram and share your thrift finds using hashtag
Thrill of the Hunt.
Until next time, happy thrifting. We want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of What's Good Goodwill.
Stay tuned for more episodes where we deep dive into the ways Goodwill is creating opportunities in Eastern Washington and North Idaho. More inspiring spotlight stories from our program participants and more bad dad jokes coming your way.
If you would like to stay connected and keep up with all of the amazing work that's happening, be sure to follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and even Pinterest. Just search for Goodwill Industries of the Inland Northwest or Goodwill INW.
Remember, every donation, every purchase, and every action you take with Goodwill makes a real difference in our community. Until next time, keep doing good, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Second dad joke of the year.
Let's see. What's the difference between February 14th and July 4th to someone who is single?
Ooh. The difference. I was going to say something about sparks or fireworks, but I don't think this fits in with either because they're... The difference. One has sparks and one has fireworks. How's that? I don't know.
Wah, wah. There isn't any because they're both Independence Day.
But